What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and for those of you that are wondering, so when is the arrival time of the stimulus reconciliation bill? As we just saw President Joe Biden sign into law the infrastructure bill, but what about the stimulus reconciliation with all of its provisions that's supposed to help out Americans and get money directly to the people? Well, this is your stimulus update and stimulus check update, and stick with me throughout the entirety of the video, and I'm going to let you know the new arrival time that we're hearing, but this seems to be changing quite a bit. As take a look at this, you guys. Article came out 16 hours ago from the time of this recording, and the subtitle says, "Progressives and moderates seem to have reached a tentative peace as they look towards a vote at the end of this week." Now, this is going to give us some details, but take a look at this. Another article that just came out 5 hours ago from the time of this recording that's going to give us a little bit of a modified, updated arrival time schedule for stimulus reconciliation. As it reads, these 5 Democrats are key to whether Pelosi can pass Biden's massive spending plan before Thanksgiving. Now, this article is going to give us an even more updated schedule of what we can expect to see with stimulus reconciliation. And now, the main thing that we are waiting on is that CBO score to see how this stimulus package could impact our nation's economy. They're concerned about debt and inflation, and how will this unfold and cause things to happen in our economy. Now, we also have, take a look at this video footage that just came out about an hour ago from the Senate floor from Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, as he urges moderate centrist Democrats and Republicans to support the bill. And he says, listen, if you're concerned about debt, inflation, you need to pass this bill. It is going to help out. Also, he says we need to get provisions and money to the American people directly to their pockets. So I'm going to be sharing with you this video footage and the articles, but on the note of getting money directly to people's pockets, stimulus checks. If you have missed some of my previous videos, you might want to check them out right after this, as I uploaded some content as we're hearing that states are now passing their own stimulus packages, and a lot are sending out stimulus checks. I just did one on the state of Texas. They just passed $16 billion worth of stimulus provisions, and we're hearing it's very likely forms of checks will be going out. Also, $285 is going out right now in one state, and we're hearing another $2,000 stimulus check could be going out in another. And we're expecting that a lot of states are going to continue to roll out these stimulus provisions, as over $350 billion was allocated in the last stimulus package to go out to states to use however they see fit, and a lot of them haven't even touched the money. So you guys, be sure to check those out as well. I'll keep you up to date. And also, if you haven't subscribed yet, you might want to do so, as we're also receiving word of one state where there's going to be several individuals that are actually going to be getting missed PUA. That is right. Video coming out on that one state where that's going to be happening. So you guys, I'll keep you up to date on all this stuff here on this channel, but also thank you so much for all the support on the second channel, Steve Ram Finance. I will pin a comment down below so you can click the link and go subscribe if you're interested in learning about growing wealth and personal finance. Really excited about launching that channel, probably closer towards the end of the year here. But you guys, let's go ahead and dive right in and get you caught up as to what's going on today with the arrival time of stimulus reconciliation and Congress as of today, November 16th, 2021. But before we dive in, do me a quick favor, just takes a second. Don't forget, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Helps me out a ton. Thank you so much. Also, leave your comments, share this out. If this is your first time here and you want to stay up to date, don't forget, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and you can come join the viewing community. Come join the Ram fam, we like to call it. And if you got any specific questions for me, I'm easy to get a hold of. All you got to do is shoot me a DM on Instagram at SteveRam3 and give me a little time to respond. I get a lot of DMs, but I will go through and do my best to respond to any questions that you have. But with that being said, let's dive into these articles and get you caught up on the video footage as to what's going to be happening with the arrival time of stimulus reconciliation. All right, so first up, link in the description below to this article that came out 16 hours ago from the time of this recording, and it's going to give us some good details on the schedule and moving forward with stimulus, but then we're going to take a look at the other one that's going to give us an updated schedule as well. Now, this article says, House Democrats, they have returned to Capitol Hill with plans to vote as soon as Thursday, in 2 days, on President Joe Biden's roughly $1.75 trillion social spending bill, with the party's warring factions seemingly appeased. Now, jumping down, listen to this. Pelosi told members in a private meeting last night, that the House would not leave for next week's Thanksgiving recess without passing Biden's bill and sending it on to the Senate, according to people familiar with her remarks. So, sounding very good for getting it done, saying this will happen this week, and we're not leaving on recess until we get this done. Now, just one thing stands in the way of that vote, and that is a fiscal analysis of the bill as we await the CBO score to see how it's going to be impacting our economy, our debt, and inflation. Now, some of the House's most fiscally conscious moderates are now predicting that the budgetary hurdle will be less thorny than anticipated. Several have privately noted that the findings from the CBO would need to be wildly off base for them to vote against the bill. So it's sounding pretty good. Listen to this. My full expectation, based on what the White House has told us, what the Treasury has told us, is that it will meet our expectation, said Representative Josh Gottheimer, who is one of the moderates that has put this on pause to wait for that CBO score. So they're sounding very optimistic. Now, take a look at this. The CBO plans to release its fiscal estimate of the bill no later than Friday, though several senior Democrats said it could come as early as Thursday afternoon. So that's why we read Thursday in the beginning when they said it could just be 2 days away. Now, they're still planning on scrubbing the bill, making sure everything is good before it goes on to the Senate, so that way they can avoid any Senate obstacles other than Senator Joe Manchin. And jumping down, listen to this. Asked whether Biden's plan would pass the House this week, Pelosi told reporters that would be our hope. And she said so far so good regarding the CBO scoring. Now, Democrats, they're returning to Washington widely upbeat about passing Biden's broader spending plan, which will include childcare subsidies, universal pre-kindergarten, housing aid, climate initiatives, and some relief for rising drug costs. Now, jumping down further, it says, the social spending plan, the president's other major priority, could now pass its first major legislative test by this Friday. Though it's poised to face more weeks of deliberation in the Senate, senior Democrats are hopeful that they can pass this final version of the bill, which some in the party already predict could be the most consequential of Biden's first term, by Christmas. So you guys, we're hearing that this week by the House and by Christmas in the Senate. Now, that is currently the schedule that we are hearing reported from Politico. But now let's take a look at the updated schedule coming out from Fox News. So link in the description below to this article that came out 5 hours ago from the time of this recording that says 5 moderate Democrats, they're going to be key to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's efforts to push through the president's massive reconciliation spending plan before Thanksgiving. And those 5 that they need to get on board to push this through the House are Stephanie Murphy, Ed Case, Josh Gottheimer, Kathleen Rice, and Kurt Schrader. Now listen to this. They had this to say. We commit to voting for the Build Back Better Act in its current form, other than technical changes, as expeditiously as we receive fiscal information from the CBO, but in no event later than the week of November 15th, consistent with the top lines for revenues and investments. So they're saying as long as everything matches up, we're going to get this done this week. That the White House released earlier this month, the members of Congress said in a statement. Now listen to this. That data is expected to come Friday. So before we had heard possibly Thursday, now they're saying Friday, setting up a possible vote to pass in the House the bill this Saturday. So you guys, that is the updated information that we're expecting CBO scores to come out Friday. We might have a vote on this bill this upcoming Saturday to move on to the Senate, where they're going to be taking a look at it, seeing if it needs to be modified further, and they're hoping that this will all be done by Christmas. Now, just to clarify, this is if everything goes according to plan, but take a look at this article jumping down. In a potentially foreboding development, however, the New York Times reports that the White House, they're preparing lawmakers for a CBO report that does not meet their expectations, and they're going to argue that the CBO is not correct in how it calculates the score for legislation. So they're saying it might actually show that this is going to make inflation and debt worse, and they're going to discredit the CBO score. Listen to this. Meanwhile, the CRFB released a report Monday indicating that the funding tricks Democrats employed while writing the reconciliation bill obscure its true cost, which could be up to $4.9 trillion in reality. So they're saying that this is a 1.75 or 2.1 trillion bill. They're saying no, it's actually significantly more. And here's why. They want to spend 2.4 trillion to buy with almost 5 trillion worth of stuff. So the way that they're going to do it is making a number of policies temporary. The problem is, once the policies are in place, there is going to be a tremendous amount of pressure to extend it. They're using 10 years of offset to pay for, in some cases, 10 years of policy, but in some cases, 6 years or 4 years or 1 year of policy so they can extend it out further. And we've literally heard them say that's the plan. Don't get rid of any of the provisions. We want them all in there. And then once people see how valuable they are, they're going to want more of them and they're going to want us to continue them. But that's going to mean more spending and more impacts to our economy. And listen, Senator Joe Manchin said we've known about this for quite a while. It's concerning. It sure is concerning. So you guys, that is the latest coming out on the arrival times for stimulus reconciliation. And let's take a look at what Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer had to say just an hour ago on the Senate floor about its arrival.
So there's much to celebrate with yesterday's signing. And in the weeks and years and months and years to come, the American people will see the benefits with their own eyes. So I want to thank President Biden for finally delivering on something the previous administrations have tried to do but have been unable to complete. Build back better. Make no mistake, we will keep going in the weeks ahead by passing the rest of the President Biden's Build Back Better agenda. It's very simple. If we want to create more jobs, if we want to fight inflation, if we want to help families lower costs, the best thing we can do is pass Build Back Better. Let me repeat that. Want to fight inflation? Support Build Back Better. For all of 2021, we've seen a historic and unprecedented economic recovery compared to where we were at the depths of the COVID crisis. But there's no denying that as our recovery continues, we must work to address supply chain troubles that have exacerbated inflation in recent months. Build Back Better is exactly what the doctor ordered. No fewer than 17 Nobel Prize-winning economists and economists across the political spectrum have said repeatedly that Build Back Better and infrastructure together will reduce inflationary pressures. In just, I think it was this morning's Washington Post, Larry Summers, one of the inflation hawks in this country, recommended passing Build Back Better as a way to reduce inflation. The child care investments alone will save parents thousands of dollars a year. Right now, families pay an average of $10,000 annually on child care for each kid under 4. Many pay more than that. That's a backbreaking expense too many families, the majority, simply cannot afford. Well, Build Back Better will provide the largest investment in child care ever. Extending the child care tax credit will help parents save on things like diapers and groceries and gasoline. And of course, Build Back Better will finally empower Medicare to directly negotiate drug prices in Part B and Part D, lowering costs for millions of seniors and American families. On insulin alone, our plan would make it so that Americans with diabetes won't pay more than $35 a month for insulin. Mr. President, none of the things I'm talking about are luxuries. None are handouts. They're daily essentials that families need to thrive with and which over the years have grown expensive. And America is behind this. Every poll you see there for all of these things. Why will not a single Republican vote for it? Why will not a single Republican vote to reduce insulin costs to $35? Not a single Republican vote to help Americans with child care. Not a single Republican vote for the best way to reduce inflation, even though they talk about it a lot. It's profoundly disappointing to see our Republican colleagues more focused on exploiting problems faced by the American people. Just recently, my colleague, the junior senator from Florida, told Americans precisely how he feels about the rising costs, inflation costs faced by families. His quote, "It's a gold mine for us." It's a gold mine. That's what the Republican junior senator from Florida said. How cynical, how low, how wildly out of touch is that? The same Republicans who spent years under Donald Trump cutting taxes for the wealthy, are now opposing relief for the middle class and cheering for costs to go up. I hope the American people remember that. Democrats are fighting to pass legislation to lower costs. Republicans, on the other hand, think inflation is, quote, a gold mine, unquote, for them and are rooting for prices to go up. These are the same partisan, short-sighted games that have frustrated American families who've increasingly wondered who in government is looking out for them. Well, yesterday, Americans got to see one shining example of what can happen when elected officials do look out for them. Build Back Better is another opportunity to do the same, and we will not let up until we pass Build Back Better and keep our promise to recapture that sunny American optimism that has long been the key to our success.
So there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I will keep you up to date. I'm expecting there's going to be a whole lot more information coming out on this. And again, if you missed those previous videos on state stimulus checks that are rolling out in various different states, be sure to check them out right after this one, and I will keep you up to date as more states likely release more stimulus packages and hopefully more provisions and checks to help people out during this time. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. And as always, if you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget, smash that like button. Helps out with the YouTube algorithm a ton. Thank you so much. Leave your comments, share this out. If this is your first time here and you want to stay up to date, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. If you want to learn about personal finance, consider joining the second channel, Steve Ram Finance. I will pin a comment down below so you can just go ahead and subscribe. Planning on launching that here very soon. And if you got any specific questions for me, I'm easy to get a hold of. All you got to do is shoot me a DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. But with that being said, you guys, I hope that this reaches you well. I'll keep you up to date, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.